So one of the questions that the bros had, and I think this is a really good question, and
Sure.
it's up to you if you want to really discuss it or not. But he said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but something along the lines of, out of all the different industries that are out there and all the different sports, your baseballs, your basketballs, your footballs, professional wrestling somehow, some way has they're infamous for having the most early deaths. You know, under 40 years old.
I have my own theories. Yes,
there's so many. Do you think? And I can think of just a lot of my favorites: Kurt Hennig,
Sure.
Brian Pillman, Ravishing Rick Rude.
Well, I was sending you one like every
Yeah,
few months.
well, the ones that you send me, they were like your older guys that, like Roddy Piper, even though 60 or 61, whatever he was, way too young to die. King Kong Bundy, way too young to die. Nikolai Volkov, I think he was like close to 70, 75, something like that. That's still a little bit too young, but I'm talking about your guys that are like 30 to 40 or even younger. David Von Erich,
Sure.
who passed away at like 27.
What?
Is it the lifestyle? Is it the drugs? Is it the travel? What's doing it to these guys that wrestling, more than any other sport really, is having these tragedies?
I will say the new crop of guys, younger crop of guys, appear to have learned a lot from the follies of the guys that came before us.
Okay.
I broke in when a lot of these guys were still alive. That you mentioned, the Kurt Hennings, the Rick Rudes, and I always thought, what's going on here? I'm a real thinking person. So I'm thinking, why are all these guys dying? Because I'm doing this, and I don't want to end up dying.
And
so
you're
I'm
still
thinking,
doing it at a high level.
yeah. So I'm saying, what is it? And I think it comes down to that. I think athletes in all sports do some kind of partying, whether they go out and have drinks, or definitely that generation of wrestlers are into the painkillers more. And I had a very good conversation with Kevin Sullivan, and good friend of mine. Just let's wing it back. And if you ask him, he said, guys, back in the day, they would go do the show. They would have a few drinks, maybe smoke some pot, go back to the hotel room, not bother nobody. Then they started to ban pot, which a lot of the guys at that time, that generation of wrestlers, were doing. So they had to find a new way to get high. So they would get hooked up with the doctors, and we all know the downfalls of the painkillers now.
Yeah.
So you add that into the mix now, okay? All professional sports, I believe, at some level, the guys go out, they tear it up, they have fun.
Yeah.
They're seasonal. There's baseball season, football season, basketball season.
Excellent point.
Wrestling is all year round.
There's no off season.
Now, let's bring up the point that wrestling is predetermined. A lot of accountability is lost. You could go out and party your ass off, but if you show up on Sunday to a professional and NFL game still messed up, you're going to get your head knocked off.
For sure.
If me and you were hypothetically two wrestlers and we're on the road together, going from town to town to town to town, me and you could get tore up every night if we chose to, because we're going to be working each other tomorrow. Oh, Robert, I had a bad freak. Take care of me out there. Don't hurt me, and I'll take care of you. We'll get by. So the accountability of being in that poor shape is not there. You could get by. This is just my theory.
It makes total sense.
Whereas if you show up banged up to your pro baseball game, your pro hockey game, your pro basketball game, and you can't perform, you're done. Whereas because it's predetermined and
all
worked
year round
that too, but because it's predetermined, even if you're banged up, you can get around it. You might not have the best match, but you're still going to get around it, and your opponent's not going to try to kill you.
Right. Yeah. So
that's my theory. It's just the fact that it is all year round, and you literally, because of the lack of accountability for that generation of guys. I think the newer generation of guys are on a whole new level, and they're avoiding those pitfalls. But you're on the road full time. There's no off season, and without that accountability, that if I get really tore up, it's fine. We'll work together. We'll work with each other.
We won't do this spot here. I'm really not feeling that one. Yeah, something like
Whereas
that.
if you show up at an NFL game on the line of scrimmage, and there's a 350-pound lineman in front of you, you're going to rip your head off. Yeah, that's my theory.